that's when I really realized that whole you can't control other people, you can't change other people, you can't force someone to be the person that you need them to be. And I guess for a long time I thought I had accomplished that because I had convinced him to marry me and I had convinced him to put an end to the long distance. But yeah, as soon as the dust settled, I realized that the ring, the proposal, the marriage, the wedding, none of that changed anything.
Not every ring a man gives is one of commitment. Sometimes it's just to shut you up. There is something worse than being alone, and that is marrying a man who didn't want to marry you. Ladies, today we'll be talking about shut up ring. So if you want to know how some women end up with a shut up ring, then be sure to watch until the end. Some men don't want to marry, but they want to take you off the shelf, so to speak. So they will put a ring on your finger to take you off the dating scene or to trap you so you won't leave. We see this all the time with women who are engaged for 5-10 years. Some men will rush to propose the moment their girl is about to break up with them. And you have another set of men who will propose because you keep nagging him and dropping hints of marriage. Ladies, that ring is just to shut you up. Let's take a quick look on this video.
128. 128. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And what's your excuse?
I haven't found anyone to marry.
128. Then they're cute. They're cute.
That video was so hard to watch. It literally gave me secondhand embarrassment. This lady took her man to Walmart and was showing him how cheap a ring actually is. So based on that, it looks like he has been saying he can't afford to get married. And now that she's showing him how cheap a ring is, he's now coming up with another excuse. After she showed him how cheap the rings are, his next excuse is that he hasn't found anyone to marry. If you are a woman who wants to get married, why waste time with a man who isn't ready to get married, or even worse, one who isn't willing to marry you? Ladies, a man will have you cooking, cleaning, be in his comfort and safe place, only to leave you in the end to be with the woman who he considers to be marriage worthy. Let's take a look on this other video.
I'll tell you when I realized that I had been given a shut up ring, and it's probably not what you expect. I realized the first few weeks of our marriage, like literally right as soon as we settled in together, settled into married life, I realized we had made the wrong choice. Because I'd spent so much of our relationship wondering where it was going, because we had this like long impending long distance with no end in sight. I wanted commitment. I wanted to know that there was an end to this and that there was going to be commitment at the end of the road. And that's what I thought that I needed. So that held me through, the engagement, the proposal is what kept me thinking the relationship, it's going to be better when. It's going to be better when we move and we live in the same place. It's going to be better when we're married. And lo and behold, after the wedding, when the dust settled from all the wedding bliss, nothing was better and I wasn't any happier. And that was a huge learning moment for me, because that's when I really realized that whole you can't control other people, you can't change other people, you can't force someone to be the person that you need them to be. And I guess for a long time I thought I had accomplished that because I had convinced him to marry me and I had convinced him to put an end to the long distance. But yeah, as soon as the dust settled, I realized that the ring, the proposal, the marriage, the wedding, none of that changed anything. We still had all the exact same problems that we had before. It took about 2 years for us to kind of live with it and for our marriage to fall apart. And towards the end, trying to salvage it, that's when I feel like all the shut up moves started happening, when I was saying, I'm really unhappy. I'm thinking about maybe potentially getting a divorce. Let's maybe separate for a while and get some time apart. And that's when, I needed to tell me I'm pretty. That happened for about a week. I needed to buy me flowers. That probably happened once or twice. Or I needed to go to therapy. We talked about it, but it never actually ended up happening. Then towards the end, I was just so exhausted with everything. I was so exhausted that, I wasn't really as convinced by the shut up moves as I had been previously. And that's when I started really paying attention to his actions. I didn't care that I got flowers one time. I needed to see if it was going to become a regular thing, or I needed to see if I was being complimented or being showed affection or being told that I was loved. And I just realized it was done a few times and then it just got completely forgotten about because things were better.
If you want to have a disastrous marriage, coerce a man to marry you, nag him to marry you, make him feel obligated to marry you. You will get the ring, but it will only be to shut you up. Marriage or a ring won't make a man love you more, nor will it make him commit to you. It won't magically make things better. When a man shows you signs that he isn't willing to commit to you, believe those signs. Sometimes the men won't speak in parables or drop signs, but they will tell you outright, just like the man in the first video did. Lots of women take these things lightly and end up breaking their own hearts, and it could have been avoided if they ended the relationship after the many red flags. Ladies, we have a worth that cannot be measured. Don't force marriage onto a man. If a man wants to marry you, he will take the lead. He will put out the effort, and it will be evident that he wants you. A man who truly wants to marry you won't keep putting it off because of finances, because a courthouse wedding is cheap, or if he sees he wants to give you a big wedding, check and see if he's actively saving towards it, because actions speak louder than words. Be wise. Trust your instincts. Believe his actions more than his words and act accordingly. Okay, ladies, that's all for today's video. Until next time, stay feminine and sweet.